all of us 10 years ago. Yeah. Oh, Mama Brittany. That's Kenny.
Welcome to New Game Plus. This is a retro gaming podcast where three guys spend 7 days playing one old game and then we talk about it. My name's Dustin.
My name is Kenny.
Nolan.
And this is episode 487, and it is a producer poll! This is the final producer pool of the Summer Pool Party. It is the final Patreon pool randomizer at the end of this episode for our Summer Pool Party, and we just want to say, preemptively, a huge thank you to all of our patrons who have been a part of this very gnarly... Is that what it is?
It's what it is. I don't know why and who decided that, but yes.
We got to find out about this week's game, but...
You're right.
Yeah.
Our gnarly Summer Pool Party, it's been one for the books. Question of the week. What's a game or series or genre that you once loved, but you have since grown out of?
I got you.
Okay.
This one's going to break Nolan's heart because he let himself fall down a stupid rabbit hole this week, and he would love if I joined him.
Of course.
But I'm gonna go with genre here, and I'm just gonna say MMOs. I ain't got time for that business.
Ain't nobody got time for that?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
You guys remember that meme?
I do.
Sure.
Nolan's having fun getting into old school RuneScape, but I mean, take your pick on which MMO it is, but I just can't.
What if I told you this? WoW has always been trash. Old school RuneScape has always been peak.
Okay. I mean, you're not going to convince him if that's what you're trying to do.
No, I think I could.
You're allowed to hold.
I think I could convince him.
You couldn't convince me that WoW has always been trash. You could convince me that old school RuneScape is excellent.
I was saying you couldn't convince him to play again. I don't think he's going to.
No, I don't think he will. I'm not trying that.
I'd have to yeah.
But like
get way more rock bottom.
No, I'm kind of with Kenny. I mean, I'm saying this because you just said I'm playing old school RuneScape again. Yes, I am. But like I've never loved MMOs. Old school RuneScape's such a different type of MMO.
Dustin, read him the question again.
What's a game or series or genre that you once loved but have since grown out of?
Yeah. He just said he's never loved MMOs. Get out of here. Answer the question.
No, it's tough because I've tried to play other MMOs is what I'm saying, and I don't play those games.
I'll go second.
Yeah.
I also selected a genre.
Okay.
Mine is not going to be a surprise. Open world RPGs. I did have time and patience for them in the early days when they weren't as expansive. Like Skyrim, I spent so much time there, not finishing the game like everybody else, just playing it, enjoying it. Sure. Even the early Assassin's Creeds where they were open world and you had to go and collect things. Assassin's Creed started the fall, but I enjoyed even some of those. I even enjoyed, and this is somewhat recent, I guess not so recent anymore, but y'all know, I even enjoyed Breath of the Wild when it came out. Open world, tons to do. I think we all did when it came out. But ever since then, it has just been a grind, and I've really been turned off by them. Recently, Rebirth and the open world nature of that, but there's plenty of
Rails
are
walkers for aging gamers.
I don't even think it's an age thing. Here's what I'm saying. I agree with you. Everything past Skyrim is late stage capitalism. Like
honestly, you can see it. You can see it in the game. Like I'm telling you, 99% of the games that I've thoroughly enjoyed were well crafted, smaller. I mean, not even necessarily small, but just streamlined, intentional. When you open it up and open it up and open it up, you've got to cut corners and you've got to do procedural generation. You've got to do just like open space with nothing. And it's really just to pad the game time, to pad your experience, to all of those things. Final Fantasy XIII is peak.
It is. It is. And everybody's realizing it way too late.
It's hallways.
It's hallways,
so
dude.
Good.
It's the best.
Beautiful hallways. All right, Nolan.
There's hallways in blueprints.
Well, yeah.
I was gonna say Pokemon. Like Pokemon is the
lot of
ultimate fall off to me of all time. I grew up loving Red, Blue, Silver, Gold. I liked Gen 3. I hate everything that they've done in the last, I don't know, 15 years. It ain't for me. It's actually not for me. It's for some people because it's still a really successful IP. But I have no interest in playing a Game Freak Pokemon game unless they change it completely in how they do it. I just could care less about Pokemon now.
I don't think you're the only one. There's a lot of people. What happened? Why did the company just forget their people and do their own, and do crap? Like, what's going on?
So Pokemon Go happened and got like everybody into Pokemon that didn't remember that, like 2015.
Yeah.
Was it 2015?
I remember.
And like, yeah, Kenny was in on that, and like Kenny's mom knew about it. Like that's how big it was. So then they had to cater to all these new people. And I don't know what happened with the mainline games. They entered into the next generation of consoles and tried to make it like a little more open and a little more like not the top down view. And they lost the essence of those games to me.
I think it had started to happen even before that.
Maybe.
But that might have accelerated.
Maybe.
I once thought I had outgrown the action adventure genre. Turns out I was just sleeping on it. Like in our retro game of the week, Alundra.
Overview.
Alundra. I have an extra A in my notes. Alundra
Where?
was
Beginning or end or
End.
somewhere in the middle?
That's an important question.
Alundra. It was released in 1997 for the PlayStation 1. It was developed by Matrix and was published by Working Designs. And I haven't heard of either of those companies. I don't think.
Working Designs was just the publisher over in the States, like bringing it over, and I think they were known for doing that for some other games. So like at the time even, they were like people knew about them because of that.
Because they were bringing like Japanese games over.
Games over. So like I'm just looking really quick and some of the games that we played, but like Dragon Force, Race Storm, Lunar, Eternal Blue, Lunar the Silver Star.
Yeah, I remember that
so
one.
bringing some of those early games
nice.
over.
They did that enough that by reputation they kind of were known for like translation kind of issues.
Issues? Oh, okay.
Like they did that was a piece of
Sure.
what they did that people didn't think they did as well as they could have.
Gotcha. This has been referred to as a spiritual successor to Zelda, specifically A Link to the Past, and I think people have also referenced like Link's Awakening due to some of the like setup of the story. And I buy that, sure. It's probably due to the top-down action, RPG nature, puzzles, overworld exploration. You wash up on a beach, you're an elf boy. Sure.
Yeah. I thought you were going somewhere else. A lot of people reference this game as it's not even a reference. It is a spiritual successor to Landstalker, which you might remember
it's like
from
the
episode
same character.
261.
I remember us liking it.
We didn't.
You didn't?
We didn't. We all gave it a no.
Oh, then I'm thinking of a different game. But I do think the character looks like identical. It's like the really big hair, and then
yeah, it's intentional. I mean, they look almost identical. I believe several members of the game's programming and design team from Alundra had worked on Landstalker, so like they came together again and they said, let's take this idea that we had, and what we made, and bring it into a new era.
Okay, cool. Kenny, you've played this game before this week.
I have.
Explain, because I don't remember why you have.
Dustin's got to explain because I don't remember either. We did
You
some
don't
kind of
even know.
special. No, we did some kind of special episode where we like each gave a game to somebody else to play, and we did a week where we each played our own game, but they were separate from each other or something like that way back in the day. And I think that was what we did, and I think Dustin picked this game for me to play. And I remember the game some
Your memory's
from
bad.
that, but that's correct me, Dustin. What was it actually?
It was our retro roulette. We played a retro
Right.
roulette where each of us brought 2 games.
That's
one was a good game, one was a
right.
bad game.
We got to do that again.
And
Okay.
I think
That was
Nolan and I
fun.
both got bad games, and you got the good game. I think that's when is that when I played that terrible Legend of Zelda like
Wand
CDI,
of
what was it?
Gamelon?
Yeah, Wand of Gamelon.
Yes,
that
it
might
is.
have been. That
Wow.
was back in 2000. Wait, no, that was
like 2021, wasn't it?
a long time ago.
Oh, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
early era of the podcast.
And so, yes,
What?
Kenny played it, didn't remember playing it, but you realized this week.
Yeah, I remembered after like seeing and being into it a little bit that I had played, and then was like, when, because it's on the podcast, but I know we hadn't played it as an official
Yeah.
game, so then kind of figured it out a little bit, though I didn't remember the details, obviously.
And then Nolan, ask me the same question, basically, if you can remember it, that you asked Kenny.
Dustin,
Have you
you've
played
played
this game
Alundra before. Explain.
I grew up one time, and as a kid, I played this game. It was, I think I probably was one of those where I rented it for a while, really loved it, and then bought it, owned it. So it was probably in the wake of. So this is 90. It would have been post 97, of course, but I had played Final Fantasy VII. I've already exhausted that on this podcast, so you know. And I was fiending for anything that was like it. And this is one of the games that had a similar kind of flair.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I loved it. Played it a lot as a kid.
Wow.
Owned it.
Okay, that's actually sick. I didn't know that. I didn't know you owned
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Good game.
Cool.
Back then.
You are Alundra, the main character, that has access to other people's dreams. That's his gift or curse.
He's a freak boy.
He's a freak boy. Why?
Both.
Why they keep calling me that? And the
I don't know, dude.
It's so perverted.
Freak boy.
After being shipwrecked in a village called Inoa, you are thrown into the local plague of nightmares that is affecting this town, and you just so happen to be able to help with that. You're told by this old man that you are the releaser, and it is your destiny to help these people from another old guy named Mel's-Ass.
Mel's ass, yeah.
You eventually team up with another Dreamwalker. That's what you're called. And you progress to the eventual showdown with Mel's-Ass.
You're
Can't
really
say it
pronouncing
like
that. No, I was thinking about that this week, and I think that's how they do it. I do want to point out this is our final producer poll of the summer poll party, and
Yes.
it was submitted by one person.
It's been happening
And
a lot.
This game was submitted by one Champagne Vinaigrette.
NGP is basically a book club, but instead of boring old books, we play retro video games. And it would be impossible without you, our community. Every week, we hang out in Discord with you, and we talk about new and old video games. Discord is the hub for all things NGP. In Discord, you can talk about the game of the week that we're playing for the podcast. You can talk about retro finds that you find at the gaming store. Or you can talk about hobbies, if anyone even has those anymore. All you have to do to get involved in the community is go to discord.gg/newgameplus and get plugged in with our ever-growing community of retro gamers. We'll see you there.
Gameplay.
I don't think The Legend of Zelda is a bad reference for this game. I do think there's a lot of similarities. One of the things that this game does a little bit different, although, man, maybe there are some Zeldas where this is the case. This game revolves around one little town. Like, you're getting to know the people. The story is wrapped up in those people, their dreams. You go outside of the town often, but you're coming back into the town. And then I will also add, I think another thing that makes it a little bit different is that they are heavy on the story here, boys. Like, more so even than Zelda games.
Yeah, and
traditionally
it's
are.
not as lighthearted as Zelda, even though Zelda
Oh.
sometimes can be a little dark, but not compared to
No, this is
This
heavy.
different.
No, heavy on tones and on the kinds of topics it develops, and heavy on storytelling. But that's kind of the thing that set that and like puzzles are kind of the things that set this game apart from others.
Well, that is an interesting thing, is the tone of the story, and you're saying it's heavy on story. Like, I kept being tempted to feel like this game was not on the PlayStation, and was actually on the Super Nintendo.
Like late Super Nintendo or
Yeah,
something?
but
It kind of has that look, or at least that vibe to me.
it has the
too.
look and vibe. But then when you got some of those story things, and you're like, whoa, yeah, no, that would never be on a Nintendo console. And it's like, wait, no, I'm on the PlayStation. This is edgy Sony era, and so that was kind of a jarring
Good
thing
call.
for me.
Yeah, good call out, because Nintendo early on, like they would censor anything religious, anything that was kind of PG-13 or above. This is
Especially in the States.
This is squarely in the PG-13 realm with religion, death. You
Mental
are getting to know
illness.
these characters, and then these characters are dying. Like,
Right.
it's not a lot of happy
Quickly.
moments. Yeah, the idea is largely you are going in and around the town, but often you're going into people's dreams because of, Nolan, you set it up early on, but because of this plague, people are kind of going into this dream state and then unable to come out of it. So Alundra, a dreamwalker, is able to hop into those dreams, clear out. The idea is clear out the evil that is there so that they can wake up. And every once in a while that works. But if he's unable to do that, or unable to do that in enough time, then they perish.
Yeah.
And there is a growing, where do you bury people?
Graveyards.
There's a growing graveyard out back, literally, of the town. There's a growing graveyard there.
Like, honestly, it's more, if we're talking the Zelda comparison, it's more like Link's Awakening than any of the other ones, because Link's Awakening is one town. You are washed up on shore. The game's about dreaming and nightmares.
Yeah.
It's actually like a lot of similarities, and in combat, but like those dreams that you're going in, you could call them your dungeons in this game, and you are solving a lot of puzzles, like Zelda, light puzzling, nothing crazy. In fact, I think Zelda gets a lot more complex here than this, but like that. There's certainly comparisons to make between the two games.
Now, the puzzling here does ramp up. Kenny and I were making faces. Like, the further you go into this game, the puzzles do... Now, Nolan, you are a puzzle boy because you grew up on Zelda, so maybe they're easy for you. But they get challenging here.
Well, they get larger in scale, too. Like, that's where the complexity comes in, where you have to, like, start memorizing stuff and remembering rooms. So, yeah, maybe it's on par with some Zeldas. It depends on which game you're talking about.
And a huge part of this game, I think, like... I know we're talking Zelda and whatever else, and if people are picturing an action adventure type of game, that's definitely the interaction. There's dungeons, but the puzzling is very, very heavy here, and it's kind of woven into the whole game. There's puzzle elements to the world and how you're exploring, and the things you need to find and the way you kind of get to those things. The world itself is kind of open world, one of those situations where like you can only progress by like getting past things, and then you're only given those things when you need to. But like beyond that, you can kind of just go and like find the things that you need to. But you've got to explore this place, and it's pretty big. And then in the dungeons themselves, there's tons of puzzles proper that are really integrated heavily into what you're doing as you go through the dungeon. A lot of combat, but the combat is swinging a sword for the most part. Some exceptions there. And so that kind of stays the same throughout the game, though your enemies change. But the puzzles and the kinds of interaction you're doing are always changing, and there's a lot of them. So that is really the bread and butter of what this game's about.
But the formula is going to feel familiar. Your dungeons are, sometimes it's defeating the 4 enemies that opens the door. Sometimes it's going to be hitting switches or placing barrels on switches. You're getting keys
Sometimes
to open doors.
too. Like there's jumping in this game, which is
and
not
that's the thing that that sets it apart
Yeah,
from
for
Zelda,
sure.
because there's some light platforming here. So with X on your PlayStation, you're jumping. Square is your strike with your weapon. Triangle, for some reason, is your charged up run. I don't know why it's all the way up there.
Hate that.
The circle button is your secondary item. So early on, you'll have a bomb there that you can use for offensive weapons, and you can place other offensive weapons there later on. But you can also place like your herbs and other healing things there as well. But yeah, there is some platforming both inside and outside of dungeons. That is one of the things that sets it apart. I also think that is kind of difficult to do with By the way, if we haven't, let me fully get this out there. This is a 2D game in a 3D world, meaning Final Fantasy VII is out, and all these other games that are doing more like of a 3D thing. I guess
that's why I said late SNES. That's why I kept getting tricked into thinking that way.
Yeah, this is a 2D game, and so doing some platforming. With the way it's hard to describe, but it is not the easiest to know where the platforms are, if they're under you, if they're far away from you, or anything like that.
Yeah, they try and give you, visuals to let you kind of understand where things are. And for the most part, you can kind of follow it. But it's sometimes hard, and especially when they're hiding things in there and making you do interactable things with the world. That fact that there's so many like layers, both like visually and in terms of like space, where you're like climbing up things or at a higher level and jumping to a lower level, but you don't know if it's a big enough ledge that you can jump back up it or if you're going to be stuck down there. Like some of those things are a little bit hard to get used to kind of this game's identity and sort of definition of what to expect. Once you spend some time in it, I think it's pretty clear like how to do those things. You kind of get it, but at first it feels a little foreign. It's a little bit different.
The amount of times that they check in on characters and story is something that was really noticeable to me, and I really enjoyed because it takes place in that one central town. You start to like kind of look forward to those check-ins with all these characters, and of course with some of the you lose one of them and then like the tone gets heavier. You kind of feel that in this game, and I really didn't expect that when I first booted it up. Like it just presents as just an action adventure game and that's it, but it's something else, and I don't really know what, but it's really unique.
Well, I'll say one thing about that, and we can talk more about whether it's good or bad in the age section, but almost each of these characters in town have not only a name and a personality, but they have a character portrait. You are interacting. Often when you're in RPGs, JRPGs, the townspeople all kind of have the same models, or a lot of them have similar models
NPCs.
Around this time. No one's very few people are standing out from one another. Almost every single person in this town has a profession, is doing something in town. Like it is somebody that that is connected to the other people in town.
They
It's
speak
a very
differently.
Unique personalities, different patterns of speech. Like it feels fleshed out. It feels like they're trying to world build and storytell more than just like take you on the adventure. Even
if it doesn't all the time fit the world they are building. There's one guy, Bonaire, who is a surfer dude.
A few of the humorous things they tried to do didn't age super well.
He literally talks like a dude from Hawaii, like not from Hawaii, but like from California surfing.
Or like a surfer dude. And I shared the image with y'all. This really happened this week, but it was this guy who has a quote after he wakes up from one of his nightmares. You rescue him. He says, "Alundra, dude, thanks, but we still have a gnarly problemo, a big bad 11 on the sphincter pucker meter." First of all of that's bad, but secondly, he said the word.
He said the word. And he said the other word. He said sphincter.
Yeah, he said sphincter.
We always talk about that.
But verified gnarly in this game.
Does that count?
That absolutely counts. That's crazy.
Okay.
And that's like top 5 most out-of-pocket things from an RPG. From an action
Who would have
RPG.
expected that? Yeah. Well, you usually don't see a surfer dude in any kind of JRPG.
That's
for
weird.
Sure.
I don't think that's good.
Hey,
let me just say.
We need to specify, and I know we did maybe early on, this is not a JRPG.
No,
wow.
It's not.
We probably said some things that are crazy then. This is a ERPG. This was created in Europe.
Yeah. But it's also
an EAAVG.
Yeah, it's
wait.
It's an action adventure game. It's not an RPG. No one said that.
It's not even an RPG.
But also released in Japan first. I don't understand what this game is, so don't ask us.
It's definitely not a JRPG. We'll just say that.
Yeah, maybe.
Correct.
I don't think it
but
is.
Kind of is. I don't know.
It kind of is.
Some of the items and the weapons that you get along the way, you start off with the dagger, and it takes a lot of hits to kill anything. You eventually, I think the next thing you probably get is your flail, maybe, story-wise. But you'll eventually get like a sword, and you can get bows and wands.
Fire
Your
rod.
alternate item, you can get bombs, as we mentioned, magic scrolls, capes. You even have a power glove. I think Zelda also did that.
Yeah, they
so,
did.
there are some similarities, and it takes a while for this combat to really flesh itself out and grow to where you have options. Really, the first, I don't know, 2 to 4 hours, you are really just going to be swinging your dagger a lot and maybe throwing a bomb here
A lot.
and there.
Combat itself is pretty samey early on.
They honestly too spongy too, in my opinion. Early on, the enemies take way too many hits for early game. Like,
and I think bombs do 2.5 the damage of your dagger typically, but there's a timer on the bomb, and so getting that to where the enemy is in place and the bomb actually goes off, where you're not in the bomb's radius, is somewhat difficult to do.
Yeah.
There are bosses. Again, they kind of drip feed them to you early on, so you would have at least faced the gelatinoid, the not Jello, I guess, but the slime.
He's
boss.
He's
just like a big version of the
breaks into smaller slimes and then breaks into smaller slimes.
Classic.
Yeah,
kind of that trope.
It's classic, basic. I don't think anyone's like, oh, best boss, ever. But it's it's
and
a
Nolan's
good first
right.
boss.
Too many hits.
It takes a long time to kill. Yeah.
It does, but it's a fairly confined space, so you can toss some bombs. Do you have
Sure,
bombs there?
and like I don't know if you have them yet.
I think so. You're in the cave.
You do.
And then you
I
face
guess
the
you do.
Ancient Guardian. That's your second big boss, and that one's a lot more interesting in my opinion. But they do drip feed them to you. They're typically these big things. Typically, not all the time, but typically these big gargantuan bosses that really fill up the screen. Have, I don't know, 6, 7 different moves in their moveset, which is welcomed. And you kind of got to learn the patterns. You've got to protect yourself. You've got to get some distance to take an herb so you can get your health back. Like, it's not easy.
I will say this, especially on that Guardian boss. I had the realization that I don't love the combat in this game. If we're talking Zelda comparisons, I think Zelda does it better. And somehow, and I don't know why, because this is also just slashing a sword from a top-down view, but like, there is something unsatisfying about the combat in this game. In those boss fights, I was like, oh, these are cool fights, but like, I feel, and maybe it was just because you don't have like, you're not super powered up yet, maybe, but I don't know.
I do think it gets better as like weapon variety is more varied, but I think it's a valid complaint.
I mean, I agree. I think the bosses are fun, and I don't think you're just doing it. Some games we play, it feels like you're just doing the same boss. The boss has one move, and you just have to not get hit.
Yeah,
by.
no,
I don't. And you're just striking it 3 times, so I don't think it's that.
There's a little variety there.
I do feel what you're saying with the combat here. I think the big thing is, and maybe Kenny kind of just alluded to this, but it just takes too long to open up. I think it does open up because you get, there are seriously like a dozen different weapons that you get during the game. There's a dozen different like sub weapons that you get during the game. That really opens up what you're doing, but it takes hours and hours to get there.
It's a big game. It's a PlayStation game. I kept having to remind myself of that. Like, there's actually it's a pretty long game, right? Like, you're gonna have a lot to experience, which is a good thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
How many times did you guys go to open up a chest and you wanted to pick something up and you couldn't because your inventory was full?
Oh, herbs? You just gotta eat
them. Not
Smoke
much.
'em.
I smoked mine.
When I realized that you can only have like 9 of any
You can only
item,
have
I think.
9.
Yeah,
Yep.
which is very few, and they feed you
You're
herbs
finding
early
them,
on, which
yeah.
is good.
Yeah, I
need them. I need them.
The save in this game too is also not so often. Like, you kind of have to go for chunks of time, and so
You're right.
I needed the herbs. Usually I would hoard them, Kenny, but I use them.
The saves are nice though because they do replenish your health and your magic. So
always welcome.
Yeah, always welcome. The main story on how long to beat for Alundra is 30 hours. So
that's a lot for
game.
a game like this, I think.
Yeah. I think it's a good length. That's probably what you want for a game like this. Did you, being a puzzle boy, Nolan, did you find the puzzles interesting, challenging, varied enough. I will say, before you give an answer, I felt that there was kind of a like each each dungeon had its own thing going on. So like one of them was very riddle focused. So you would come across these plaques that would give a riddle that would tell you how to, if you can decipher the riddle, tell you how to solve the puzzle in the next room.
Yeah.
The early ones were just the switches and barrels, but they all kind of had their own theming. I didn't feel like anything too difficult, but still a good little challenge. Nolan, being the puzzle boy, I wanted to know what you thought.
The puzzles are the highlight of this game. It's not the combat, which I didn't love, but the puzzles are truly the highlight. And also, because you're like going into these dreams, it feels instanced, like it feels themed and feels like a true dungeon, which is really satisfying. And like, if that's one thing from Zelda I think you should get right, it's that. And so they nail that. I like the puzzles a lot. They're the kind where like you want to spend time doing it yourself. Like you could obviously use a guide and save a lot of time, but there's something about exploring through these. Like I approve of them.
Aged.
Why is the old guy's name Lars?
He's Norwegian.
Oh.
No, I mean, I don't think he
I
is.
didn't think
I don't know.
about that.
Why is the other one's name Melzass?
Melzass sounds like an evil person. Lars does not sound like a wise old dude. Sounds like my friend down the street.
I think it's probably just an aging problem.
Oh yeah, how so?
Don't ask how. I was just saying that it was related to age, since that's what we're in right now. Music we often talk about here. We talk about typically the name of the old wizard, and then we talk about music often. Those are two of the big things we talk about here in Age.
Yeah.
Right.
The composer was Kohei Tanaka, and I don't know what else they did, but I think it's very fitting for this. Oh, did Dragon Ball?
Whoa.
Well, that's a big
That
deal.
actually doesn't surprise me.
As in the
After
anime?
After hearing this game,
As in the Dragon Ball for the Japanese anime show, the theme song arrangement.
Oh my god, that is
Wait, how is
peak.
that?
Wait, that's
Pokemon
I don't
the
know
movie
why you-
2000?
whoa.
I don't know why you guys are surprised. This is great music.
Well, yeah,
and so
but-
that doesn't shock me in the least.
But that's like so notable. And One
Tamagotchi
Piece.
the movie?
Worked on One Piece.
I think the music is actually one of the stronger things in this game.
It's very, very noticeably quality. Like, I think it was on one of that playlist, that PlayStation one that got nuked.
Oh, good, because I was gonna say any of these tracks could be on
all
a
of them.
playlist.
Yeah, very fitting. Very like up there with the more known PlayStation 1 titles, I think. Like even your Final Fantasies, I think it's up there.
Likewise, I think that graphics could be on a list. Now, here's the thing: we got to have that conversation that Nolan, you've been coming back to, of like, this isn't a Super Nintendo game; it's a PlayStation game. Well, first of all, if it was on Super Nintendo, they would be smoking something, because it is.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Like I do get that. It does have that vibe, but it is in a PlayStation era, and so they were able to do more. I think graphically, I don't think I have one complaint. There's so much detail. What's your complaint?
Not a complaint. I think there's some people who could want it to be a little less muted. It's real.
The story is.
No, I just mean like the colors. It's lots of browns and greens. It's just a little bit drab. I think it works for the game. I don't even mind it. I'm just like, if you were going to point out a critical thing about the look, that's the only thing I could think you would come up with.
It is those things, but I think that was intentional to fit the tone of the story. And so for me, like I think that's fitting and good. They probably wanted, they might have anticipated some of the comparisons to Zelda and some of the other I don't know, happier is not the right word, but like they were like, no, this is serious, and so they made it puke green instead of bright green.
So
Hey.
being the type of game that it is, where you're moving from like screen to screen, both for how large this game is and for just how much time they put into making unique environments that feel different from each other. I think I was reading that there's something like 7,000 distinct, like individual screen, like backgrounds.
Oh my goodness!
In this game, it's something like that. It's a huge amount. They were very detailed. They went hard. The visuals all look different. The places all look cohesive. The environments are varied and interesting, and the puzzling is so tied in with the visuals in your environments that they had to be very thoughtful about that. There's tons of visual layers where you're seeing shadows from things and things that are closer and further away. And yeah, I'm with you. I think the game looks really good.
I'm not an expert on the PlayStation's catalog, but I am just going to say this, and then people can correct me. That's fine. I wish there were more 2D top-down style action and RPG games on that console, because I think you can make really like powerful ones, like really that like runs really smooth and looks really good, and still has that more retro kind of pixely look to it. Like, just like you said, Dustin, this came out in the 3D era, and I think a lot of developers felt the pressure to adapt to that and to, take it on, which fair enough.
Yeah, I think there's a handful, but I'm with you, Nolan.
So
At least my
charming.
sense is that everybody was doing the 3D thing and feeling like it was obligatory, and it's not.
Well, but at the time it might have been for
It
sales.
was, though.
Like,
Yeah, it
sure.
the audience wanted this new thing, even if
Graphics.
it looked like crap.
Do you remember when graphics used to matter? Like, we used to care.
Right.
Like, oh, dude, have you seen the graphics of this new game? Like, now,
I think for
like, I laugh
an
at
era,
graphics.
that was the most important thing.
And we've reverted. All these indie games that come out with
yeah.
like trash graphics, we love them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting. It's very interesting. So I think they did feel the pressure to do the 3D
Sure.
thing, especially when Final Fantasy VII came out. You're not going back to this. Like, the games that were already in development that look like this, we got, but there probably were a bunch that got scrapped.
But I also think that's why this game ages better than some of those early 3D attempts, because
Big true.
they knew
Something
how to do it.
timeless here.
Yeah. Charming, timeless, and as I mentioned earlier, like detail. There's character portraits for everybody. They all have this distinct look, character models, all of these animations. There's just a lot of detail and love that's put
the
into these
text
characters.
isn't boring. It sort of fits in the environment and is on texture, and it has some depth to it. Like everything, it's very detailed and a lot there.
It is a story-first game, I think, meaning that for Kenny in particular, there's a lot of times you're not being able to play the game because you're watching a cutscene or your character's out of your control and is automatically moving to talk to this person and doing this thing. There's a lot of it. I feel like it's fine because the story is interesting, but it does break that up a lot. So I would get some people being like, just let me play the game. But
Sure.
did it bother you at all?
No.
Either of you?
No. I
Not especially.
I liked that about this game, because most action adventure games have a story, but they kind of tell it to you at the beginning and then they tell it to you at the end. The in-between is just the dungeoning and the puzzling and the platforming. But the fact that a lot of this is driven by text in someone's house with someone in a bed recovering, and you have the townspeople around them, like, that's cool. I think that's unique, and I think they pulled it off well. The translation thing, I didn't notice anything crazy. I know that y'all were saying this publisher may be infamous for some mistakes, but
I think this game generally was more well received than other games that they made. That's the sense I have.
Yeah.
So
I like this one.
a couple of places where I felt like, again, you talked about like the surfer dude and like some of the him being a freak boy and whatever else. A couple of things that are like humor and like how do you translate that, and didn't age as well as maybe other things could have been. But some of that's just like what's written as well. Like some of that's just the nature of it. So
There is a sequel, Alundra 2, for the PlayStation that came out a year later, but it doesn't 2 years later, but it doesn't have any connection really, other than the title and the developer, to Alundra. It is a different protagonist. It is a different color palette instead of this dark, more
But Alundra
serious theme. And
is the guy.
that's not Alundra. That's Flint.
No.
And it doesn't have the dark, serious tone. It has a much more lighthearted storyline. So
Interesting.
it fans of Alundra, from my understanding, didn't gravitate to this game as much because what they loved, all those things they loved about Alundra, it was just vacant. It was missing from
It feels
Alundra
like a
2.
game that didn't need a sequel.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But, I mean, when people... And I don't think Alundra, the first one, I don't think it sold incredibly well. But I think in large part because it's 2D in a 3D world.
Yeah, went under the radar.
But, yeah, I mean, standalones, we need to see more of them.
We need more.
If you want a copy of Alundra for your PlayStation, it is going to run you a pretty penny. $66 loose, $160 complete in box, and $373 if you want it new.
Interesting.
Wow.
Final thoughts.
At the end of each and every one of our episodes, we determine whether or not the game gets our vote for New Game Plus status. That's our general thumbs up or thumbs down. It does require 2/3 of the vote to swing one way or the other. I'll begin by saying I don't know which way I'm going right now. And I know that sounds odd for me talking about it, for me introducing it to Kenny back in the day and all of these things. I had fond memories of this game, and I'm glad that we got to play it this week. Thank you, Champagne. But, and while I think there's a lot to love here, I don't know. I really can't put a finger on it.
Put a finger?
Yeah, or a finger. There's something that's missing, and there's something that's not grabbing me this time around.
Wow.
The story is there, but all of the gameplay components, and we've been worried about some, or we commented on some of them, right? It takes a long time for the weapon system to pick up and the magic system to pick up and all these other things. I really love the dream walking, jumping into those dreams. I love the story. I love the dark and brooding nature of it. Largely, and I know this isn't exclusively it, but largely when I like my RPGs more I like my RPGs more turn-based. I don't really love action RPGs near as much as I love any that are turn-based or any that have kind of their own separate battles. They don't have to, but so that's a part of it. I don't know, guys. This week I've been torn. Wow. This is a game that I have a lot of fondness for growing up. I don't think I'm going to give it my vote for New Game Plus status.
Unexpected. Whoa.
It also feels bad. We're in the middle of a summer pool party. 2, I think the majority of us, if not all of us, have given yeses to almost every game that has been in the summer pool party.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Alundra's like right there. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. There's just something missing that I can't quite put my finger on. That wasn't grabbing me this week. I think it's good, but I understand why it is somewhat forgotten to the sands of time. So man, I don't like it, but no New Game Plus from me.
Kenny?
Yeah.
Redemption
round 2.
Freak Boy.
Freak Boy got a second chance to play as Freak Boy. And yeah, I don't know. I think I'm with Dustin as a child more than I am with Dustin as an adult here.
Someone called the police.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
This one's a pretty easy yes for me. I think it's a solid entry from an era that does this kind of game well. Outside of the puzzles and storytelling, I think it is fair to say that there's nothing especially noteworthy here. It's good. It's a lot of typical straightforward things, but that goes both ways. There's also not much that this game does wrong either. And so I think most folks would enjoy it. It is a little bit of a slow burn at first. You do have to be into the puzzles to have this game really hook you. If that's not your cup of tea, you're probably going to bounce off of it. So those are some all like fair caveats, I think. But overall, I am into those things and more enjoyable about it than things that frustrated me. So I'm going to say NGP for me, a solid game. Yeah, Dustin as a kid had taste.
And now, Nolan, I need you to also say yes. Let me be the dissenter. I don't. I want this
You've
game
already
to get,
had your choice,
right?
Yeah.
I want this game to get New Game Plus status, but I
well,
need
you
you
could
to do your
have
work
could have
here.
done something about that.
No, because it couldn't from me.
Okay. I agree with pretty much everything Dustin's feeling. Now, current Dustin, adult Dustin,
Yeah,
not
but
child Dustin. And yeah, like, can I say no and refuse to elaborate? Is that an option?
no, but you can
You
say yes and
can.
refuse to elaborate.
No, see, there's a lot of the instanced dream sequences where you kind of get a fresh plot line every time, a new character, puzzles, dungeon. Like, that concept is amazing. And I think they did it well. Like, I have nothing to complain about that portion of the game. The puzzling is great, and clearly where they spent a lot of their time.
So that's where we're gonna stop.
No, there's no. I also feel like what this, even though that's the case, why did I not enjoy this game very much this week? I don't like the combat. It feels wrong, and I can't explain that. I don't know how swinging a sword can feel bad, but it does. And the items you get are kind of cool, but also not so integral to like progression like Zelda does it. I'm not gonna give it New Game Plus. I don't know if I like this game. GG's.
I think
Sorry.
given the nature of combat and the fact that enemies are hard, like I get that there's some stumbling blocks here, especially early. That doesn't surprise me from you. Absolutely surprises me from Dustin, and I almost want to give him a chance to change his answer, but I think he's going to stick to his guns, and that's fine. Y'all can be understandably wrong, but wrong about a game, even though it's like community submitted, and yeah. I'll forgive you yet again.
This is going to be painful to say, but Alundra, my childhood classic, is not New Game Plus certified. But what did you think on our YouTube poll? 27% said yes, it's worth playing today. 6% said no, go play something else. And 67% have obviously never heard about it because they were only playing 3D games.
67's a lot that haven't played it.
Many from our community played along with us and wrote in their thoughts. Unassuming local guy said, I played through Alundra for the first time last year and I really enjoyed it. It feels a bit like a hard mode version of 2D Zelda. Although the platforming segments are frustrating at times and the world can be difficult to navigate, I found the downsides were outweighed by the fun I had in the dungeons, which only continue to get more creative and interesting across the game's 30-plus hour runtime. It looks great, the story is interesting, and the translation by working design is amusing enough, even if some of the pop culture references are pretty jarring. NGP from me.
I expect everyone to have basically the same opinion. So yeah, I'm a little worried.
And not yours.
Right,
yeah.
Right. We're going to make people mad. Tins said, Alundra is one of those games that noticeably checks many boxes from the start. It hits the ground running with its presentation, graphics, and smooth controls. The music is formidable, and the story, while slightly eye-rolling and forced, is unique to say the least. However, it just feels like a mountainous chore for me in 2025. It's not a bad game by any means. I just don't find myself having fun after a few hours, and I can't quite put my finger on it. But even if I gave up on it, still check it out for yourself. Just be ready for a lengthy and challenging journey if you can.
Literally me. It's got a funk to it. I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't know.
Right. But there's nothing.
There's nothing wrong with it.
But for me, there's nothing. Yeah, like it's. Yeah.
I know. People are going to be really annoyed at us. I know.
And then Champagne Vinaigrette, who submitted the game, said, maybe it's nostalgia, but Alundra holds a solid top 5 spot for me.
Oof.
It gets a lot of Zelda comparison, but I'd almost say it's more similar to a Seiken Densetsu Mana title. I've also played way more of those than the Zelda titles. We bought this game at Babbage's back when it first came out. I was 9 years old. My brother was 13. I remember being blown away by the graphics and the soundtrack, but the gameplay, puzzles, and storyline with its emotional highs and lows even pulled my mom into playing along with us. I remember her even crying alongside us when certain characters met their demise. And of course, the music also helped play a big part in this too. Obviously, I love this game. Easiest NGP from me, and I hope all of you guys had a blast with it. Maybe not the gnarliest pick, unless you ask Bonaire. That alone qualifies it.
Okay, so they know the quote.
Well,
Sorry.
Champagne, sorry, Nolan didn't like your
Wow,
game.
Dustin started us off on this note.
Hypocrite.
Champagne Poppy.
No. All right.
I got your back.
We're going to set aside Alundra, and we are not going to randomly select the next retro game of the week from the Retro Master list because it is time for our final Patreon poll.
Were you mad that I didn't say that like that on the last episode?
You did. You just didn't listen to the edited.
Oh no, I've been tampered with.
No. Stats by Shane.
That's by Shane.
Wow. The GameCube, the PlayStation 1, and the PlayStation 2. All right, moving on.
Right. Same games.
At the most, we've got Super Mario Sunshine up at the top, followed by the same that we've seen all summer
it's
long.
Not
Not
gonna
interesting.
Get picked. It's not.
Keep
gonna get
listing
picked.
them. It doesn't matter. It's going to be a game that's a one-off.
Right. So instead, I'm going to share a few of the most gnarly sounding games.
Okay, that's fun.
Okay. So submitted by Corey, we've got The Sims Bustin' Out.
That's
Gnarly.
By Bill Gier, we've got Blaster Master Blasting Again.
There's no way
Gnarly
that's what
enough.
it's called. Stop it.
It is. From I'm Club, we've got Neopets, The Darkest Fairy.
I would play that.
From I Love You Pizza Man, we've got Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure.
Okay. No,
Y'all are-
extreme gnarly. Yeah.
We've got a couple more by Dungeons and Drams. We've got Green Dog, The Beached Surfer Dude.
Okay.
That's
Surfer
gnarly.
dude. Yeah.
And then from RMRF, we've got Bronchi, the Bronchiosaurus.
That's gonna be like a Color the Dinosaur type game.
It's an edutainment game. I'm
It's,
pretty sure.
yeah.
it's
no
so that name though is so Bodie McBoatface, and I love it.
Wow. We are randomly selecting from your submitted games from this cold list Patreon pool randomizer. Gnarly, go! Stop getting your hopes up with these. It's always going to be from one person, one submission.
Really?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah.
Stats
2004.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Wait, so
Action
that'd
Adventure.
be GameCube.
Again.
Game Boy Advance.
GBA. All right.
Published by Nintendo.
Okay.
Developed by Capcom.
Good signs.
Uh-oh, Nolan. Get there. Get
There's
there.
a couple,
Go,
there's
go,
a
go,
couple.
go, go, go. What if I say it's the 12th entry in the series?
I still don't know.
This game serves as a prequel,
That means before.
and it was submitted by Neo Kuja, the game that we're going to be playing for the next 7 days. The series has been mentioned many times in this episode, and the subtitle is The Minish Cap. Is this a good one, Nolan?
Honestly,
No.
no. I'm just kidding. This one has been like discussed a lot as like such a good one, and I've only played through it once, and I don't remember it well.
Interesting.
Yeah, you go tiny. That's the shtick. You go small.
Link's
I'm
already
in.
tiny.
Kenny will like it a lot.
All right. Well, find a copy of The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap and play it along with us and Neo Kuja and some from our community this week.
Join Discord. Type !Discord, and it'll like send you a link.
Type-ish.
Discord.gg/NGP podcast actually will get you there.
You can also support your favorite retro gaming podcast by going to patreon.com and looking us up. You'll be joining people like our many producer level supporters, including Alex, Marlene, Antonin, Ben, Bill R, Champagne Vinaigrette, hey, Cody, Craig, Dagany, Flumbus, Garlisle, Grammy C rather, Hallex, Harold, Hey Brother, Hot Tamales, JB Crest, J Robert, Jake Jordan, Justin, Kaldaka, Clen, Lapidus Landris, Levi Maximum, Megatroid, Miss Muso, Not Enough Dog, Rad Mac, Riff, Sagen, Scotty Shane, Shauna, Snake Matic, Spinning the Jet, Steven Fox, Super Garbage Day, Super Hyper, Swaggy Toggle Fish, Psycho Manus, Thomas, Unbelievable, and Zion. Thank you as well to our director level supporters, Bro Jim Sasser, Mystic Tins, and Siegfried, and to our newest folks joining their patronage. Ivan Blues, thanks for your support. Tim of the T, thank you for upping your patronage. And Farmer Ben, who presumably is different than our pilot Ben.
Dang,
Right,
we have a
different
lot
jobs.
of profession
And,
bins.
Yeah, we got bins all around the bend. I don't know why I say things. Thank you guys for your support.
Follow us on our social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Links are in the show notes. Listen directly on any podcast provider of your choice. Make sure you subscribe so that you're the first to get new NGP episodes. And while you're at it, please leave a kind rating and review. Our episode artwork and our video episode and our audio episode were done by the people that I mention regularly, and those people are Dave, Dylan, and Dan. Join us next week as we play The Legend of Zelda, The Minish Cap. Until then, I'm Mel's Booty.
I'm the Lundra.
Alundra too kind of look like
Oh, okay. And this has been New Game Plus.